health again?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so when we last left it, you had finished at the blacksmith's. Your paladin had a nice shiny new sword and a little bit of an admonishment from the blacksmith himself about how he'd been acting. And you'd all stepped into that blue circle. Now, you should all be able to see yourselves on the map. Not that it makes much difference at the moment, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And what happens is when you step into the circle and you all step in at the same time, there is a shimmering in the air, and it's a golden shimmering, and it's different to the shimmering that you felt when you entered this room. It's a different spell, effectively, is being cast, even though it's obviously from the area. The blue circle on the floor gradually fades into a golden light, and the whole room is filled with little golden motes of light that seem to fall like very big snowdrops from the ceiling quite slowly. And the room light fades and fades and fades and fades into darkness until all you've got is the immediate flagstones of the floor in the middle of that blue circle, which is now glowing gold, and it's glowing brightly, so brightly that you can't actually read the runes that are on the floor now. And the glow extends straight up to a very rough height of about 2 feet. It's very uneven, and it kind of fades away at the top. And then you've got all around you, going off in an impossible distance outside the confines of the room that you're in, is these golden motes of light falling ever so slowly from high, and they fall down past you, and they fall down past where the ground should be, outside of the circle. So you're now standing on a golden illuminated disc of light, surrounded by utter darkness in all 3 dimensions, apart from these golden motes of light. And that stays like that for about 30 seconds. Does anybody want to do anything during that time?
No, I'll just stand here like, awestruck, I suppose.
Now, those of you who have anything in arcane, which I believe is everybody apart from Rain, I think. Now, what you're seeing here is something that is just incredibly powerful, possibly the most powerful thing that you've seen, yet very, very simple. There aren't really, it's not flashy, it's just immense. It's covering a massively wide area, which spells, it'd have to be a powerful spell in order to do that. I'll tell you what, the 3 of you who do have arcane, make me an arcane check, and the difficulty is 20. So if you get over 20, I want to know.
Sorry, roll arcane.
For an arcane check, the difficulty is 20.
Okay. Fuck.
Worst mage ever.
Right.
Shut up. At least I have it.
Yeah, don't even worry about it, guys.
So, right, so you got it.
Yes.
Okay, so you are reminded of a story that your original mentor told you. So not Gaelid in Arabelle, but your original mentor many, many years ago. And he told you about a story of golden motes of light falling from the sky in a massively wide area in the darkness. And he never experienced it, but he heard the story. The story was given to him from a friend who heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who heard it from someone who was there, going back over a long time ago. And that person who told the story to the friend of the friend of the friend of the friend was never heard of again. No one knows what happened to him. Pretty much after he told that story, that was him. He was gone, just never seen again. And a lot of research was done down throughout the years, and it was believed that this spell was more powerful than any magical spell that could currently be cast in the realms. But no other information about it.
Okay, so I guess while everyone's in awe, I'm in more awe. It's the only way I suppose I can describe it.
All right. Anyway, the 30 seconds stops, ends, and it fades back in. I just need to move maps. And as it fades in, daylight starts to infiltrate the darkness, and the motes of golden light in that daylight seem to get lost and fade away to the point where they're very difficult to see as it gets lighter and lighter and lighter. And as it does get lighter, you can start to hear bird song. You can't really see anything. At the moment, it's just the darkness is just getting lighter, like somebody is just moving a slider, basically. That's what it feels like. And it's going from black to a sort of a grey, and it's getting lighter grey and lighter grey. And while it does that, you can hear this bird song, and the motes of golden light are kind of fading away into this greyness. And then the grey is kind of replaced by a green tinge that fills the area. And as you look up, there's a kind of a blue tinge mottled with green as well. And eventually, you find yourselves standing on grass. You're in the top right-hand corner, by the way.
Okay.
Can you see yourselves?
Yep.
Yes. We can see lots of other things as well.
Yeah.
Do
Top
we
right
recognise
corner.
this as the stone that we came to last time we were teleported?
Yes, you do. And oh yeah, right. I haven't given out much in the way of inspiration. That's generally because I have more things to worry about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of the optional rules within the DMG, and that optional rule is I'm going to allow you guys to give each other inspiration. However, obviously, if you misuse it, I'm going to take it away from you. But what I need you to do is, if one of you comes up with a really great plan or an insight into something, or something that is perfectly in character, funny or whatever, I will allow general consensus in the group to award that player inspiration, should that player not have any. Okay? Does that make sense?
I think I have
So-
one that we got like the beginning of the game I still haven't used.
Right. So what I'm going to do is, for this, actually, I'm going to give you an inspiration point, Rain, for that comment, because you're
Whee.
correct. Yes, it is. But from now on, if someone comes up with something that is masterful, I will allow you general consensus to go, do you know what, that's worth an inspiration point. And if everyone else agrees, then yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Sounds good.
And I can hear myself speaking through someone else's mic. So I don't know who that
I'm
is.
getting echo
I
for-
think it's Griffin. Because it lights up whenever you speak in Griffin.
Yeah. Griffin.
He's got his headphones off. Someone's talking to him, I think.
All right. Well, I'll have to go with it for the time being. Although that's quite awkward. Griffin, you there?
He's having a very animated conversation with someone.
Okay. Yeah, this is making it very difficult. So I'm just going to put him on mute for a moment.
Yeah, I'll do the same.
Hello.
Easy.
Well, I got him muted.
Yeah, he's muted for me.
Okay.
User left your channel.
Oh, let's solve that problem.
Oh.
Right. Well, I will carry on doing the description. And yes, it is the standing stone. However, there's a lot of differences to the area, as you can probably imagine. There are a fuck sight less trees than there were when you were here last time. A lot less trees. Also, the standing stone looks, for want of a better word, new. Or certainly much, much, much newer anyway. And what you have dotted around the outside are a shit ton of elves, all with bows. Around the immediate outside of the fire, you can see maybe a dozen.
User joined your channel.
Terribly sorry
Welcome
about
back.
that.
That's
I
all right,
actually
mate.
physically muted my mic on the little sound box on it, but I guess it didn't do it properly. Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right, mate. It's not a problem.
Didn't mean to interfere.
Right. So just to let you know, you're at the stone circle, the stone monolith obelisk that you were at before, the standing stone it's known, in the middle of the forest of Comanthir. The stone is a lot
Yeah, I
newer.
remember that.
The stone is a lot newer than you remember it. And there is this massive ring of fire that is 50, 60, 70 feet across, that extends up about 20 feet. And through it, you can see 4 elven mages or priests. They're dressed kind of similarly, robes, working some kind of magic. Dotted around the outside, immediately around the outside, you can see maybe a dozen elven archers. And if you look about, you can see that there are more in the forest as well, a lot more, probably another 40 to 50 more elven archers dotted around the forest around you. And a lot of these now have their bows aimed towards you with arrows nocked. They're not firing. They don't have any look of anger or anything on their face. It's very, very matter of fact. Hello, who are you? I'm going to point my weapons at you until we've decided whether or not you're going to fuck us up or not.
What kind of elves?
They're all wood elves.
Okay. I walk up to them. Like I've got like a look of horror on my face, having seen like the forest is basically like you said, it's almost gone. I walk
The
up.
elves in the middle, by the way, are all high elves. The 4 elves in the middle of the fire are high elves. The elves are on the outside of wood elves.
Okay, I walk up to the closest wood elf to us.
Okay. As you get sort of about 20 foot towards him, he shouts in Elven, halt. And he kind of, to illustrate that, I mean, they've already got their bows drawn. He kind of like pulls it back an inch or so just to show he means business. He doesn't loose it or anything. And it's not actually pointed at you as well. It's pointed just off to the side. You know that, you can tell.
As he calls me to halt, I'll just say, what's going on here? What's happened to the forest?
Are you doing this in common or Elvish?
Elvish.
Okay. He looks at you and says, I don't understand. What do you mean what's happened to the forest? Who are you?
The forest, it's been cut back. So what happened to all the trees?
He kind of looks at the elf off to his right hand side. He's got a look of confusion on his face. And he says, nothing has happened to the forest. Who are you?
This is Comanthir, is it not?
I'll ask again, who are you?
My name is Ferron Vandel. Who are you?
I am First Lieutenant Elven Guard of the Coronel of Mithranor.
I'm going to whisper out of like the corner of my mouth to Sabin and Delgar. I take it you've been here before, like a recognition in your faces. Perhaps at a different time?
Yes, actually.
Quite a long time ago, if I remember correctly.
Before or after this? Can you tell?
Oh, sorry, I cannot. Not without knowing what year it is.
Sure, I can listen to interference conversation. There. Can't get any more out of that.
Sorry, I'm having a really hard time hearing you for some reason. I think
Who?
it's on my end.
Me?
Davrix.
Okay.
No, that's why I'm not responding. I can't actually hear you properly. I think it's on my end. Just give me a minute.
Can you boost me?
Yeah, I can. So just there. Can you say something?
Something?
There we go. That's a lot better. Okay, thanks. Sorry about
Sorry, yeah, I do tend to be quiet. It's my bad.
I'll shout over to him again. This is Cormantha, is it not?
Yes, this is Cormantha.
This forest is much more abundant with trees and much more grown than it is now. What's happened here?
Nothing has happened here. The 4 High Elven Council members are rededicating the Standing Stone.
Oh, kind of cough, and I'll say to Varen, perhaps it's before the trees grew. Perhaps we are even earlier than your last visit.
We're getting an echo again, by the way.
Yeah, it's Griffin. He's on Vox.
Oh, what the? Yeah. Okay. 1 second.
User
Alright.
left your channel.
Do any of you have weapons out?
No, I've got mine.
No.
No, I haven't.
All right.
I'll like
User
step
joined your
back
channel.
and just speak to Davrix. What do you mean? We've been here before.
Yes, I gathered from the others. Now, I may be wrong, but that was probably a spell to transport us either through time to an earlier place than when you last visited here, or an alternate dimension where things happen differently. I couldn't tell you for sure, but I know that magic that we were just privy to was far more powerful than anything that's capable of being cast by anybody living in our time. So, something highly unbelievable like that may have happened. Possibly. I'm only speculating.
Okay, I just look like shocked. How do we get back to our time?
As I say, I wouldn't even begin to know how that type of powerful magic has been lost to us.
I'll shout over to the wood elf. Excuse me, what year is it?
It is a year of the Hippogriff's folly.
I'll turn to Zilt as if he might make something of that.
Okay, history check, please. And the difficulty for this, for knowing individual years, is going to be 20. So if you do have inspiration and you want to use it, then it's up to you. But if you don't, you can't.
I do have inspiration. I don't have proficiency.
Can I
Let's
roll
use
that as well?
inspiration.
Yeah, anybody can roll a history check to see whether you know. But the difficulty is 20.
Okay, I'm going to use a class ability.
Yeah, which one?
Because I'm level 6. Come on, 3. Damn it. No, there's still only a 19. I've not beat it.
All right. Okay, so no, you don't know. That doesn't mean anything to any of you.
Shrug. Say, sorry,
Do we
particularly difficult.
do we at least know that it's not the year we're in at the moment, or that we thought we were in?
Yeah. No, definitely not.
Well, that you're clearly right, Zilt.
The year we're in at the moment is. Where are we? Oh god, I can't find it. Hang on. Doesn't matter for the moment. I'll find it in a bit.
But where we are on the spectrum, or if we are on the same spectrum, remains to be seen. As enough, you probably have the best chance of finding out some more detailed information from these people.
What do you want me to ask him?
Ask them. Okay, could I maybe think of? No, wait. I'll ask you first. I'll say, what year was it when you first visited this place? Do you know?
You want me to ask them that?
No. When you first visited these standing stones, do you know when that was?
Well, you believe that when you first visited the Standing Stones, it was in the current day, or the current day that you thought, if you know what I mean.
Okay. I mean, I wasn't there for that, so I guess I'm
No.
in the dark as my character. I guess, can I play with a 19 on history? Can I play like significant event in the past? Is it has this happened yet? And then like track back, like depending on whether it's a yes or no.
Dale Reckoning, which is the current timeline, has its 0 point on the day the Standing Stone was erected. So you're at least some point after 0 DR. Now, the rest of you, when you went back into time before, you were about minus 10,000 DR. So now you're at least plus DR. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right.
I could ask him how long the Standing Stone has been erected.
Of course, that makes sense.
Excuse me, how long has the Standing Stone been erected for?
He looks at you like you're mad and says, well, nearly 250 years.
That compares how to the amount of years it would have been standing for in our era?
It's about 1372 in current times.
Okay, so over a millennia difference. Okay, that's. I guess I would ponder that out loud and say that would account for the difference in foliage.
Current year, here we go, 1489. So there, that's a current Dale reckoning time, 1489.
Wow. As he says that, I look just like, yeah, I'm not, my jaw's on the floor sort of thing.
Yes, I guess I'm doing some beard stroking as I am IRL. Trying to now, work out maybe how this has happened.
A question for you, Davrix. Mm-hmm. Can you just give me a description of Zilt, please? Mainly sort of build, facial features, that sort of thing.
Okay, so he's probably of medium height, but on the lighter side of a build, because he's not very physically fit and stuff, mainly been a scholar for most of his life. He has quite dark red hair, which he has quite long, and like a full beard as well.
Okay. Do you have? I mean, obviously you're not half elven or elven at all, but do you look obviously human, or do you really look the kind of slightness that an elf would have?
I don't think I look elven at all.
Right.
Particularly, elves can't. Can elves grow like normal facial hair to this extent?
Not full beards, no.
No, that might be the biggest indicator then. But
right.
Yeah, I'm probably slight, but not like angular in the same ways or anything. Obvious.
Okay. You notice that the elves are kind of eyeing you incredibly suspiciously. No one else, just you. They don't do anything. They don't point weapons at you, but they're just kind of watching you more than they're watching anyone else. And they're watching what you do with your hands and, you know, whether you sort of go towards weapons or go towards bags. And you can see them tense a little bit. They don't point anything at you. No one has anything pointed at them, but they're kind of really watching you more than anyone else.
I'll say, I gather from these elves' reactions that humans aren't as prolific as where we come from. Probably never seen us before. In fact, would I know that we didn't exist at this time?
No, you definitely exist. Basically, the standing stone was created by the elves and the humans to forge a pact together that both races would be able to live in the woods without animosity and violence towards each other. So, yeah, they've probably seen you before. They've seen humans before, but these are probably elves that have spent their entire life in elven society. So the amount of humans they would have seen would have been very small.
Okay, so yeah, not as prolific, I guess. Maybe it's still my wording. I'd maybe say, because I speak Elvish, I'll probably say in Elvish, you have nothing to worry about from me. I know of the elves, and my party here can vouch for me if required. I mean, you know how.
The elf who's been speaking to you, Ferron, looks at you and says, "Is this true? Is he your prisoner or is he your friend?"
He's a friend, a trusted one.
He nods. You can see just generally throughout the 4 or 5 elves that are near the fire that have your attention, they all relax a little bit. Now, you can all tell that the elves that are surrounding this are soldiers, and they're all very regimented. They're all wearing identical uniforms, apart from maybe rank differences. They all look like they have been doing this for decades, and they're probably very, very good. So they don't relax completely, but maybe they get off of the balls of their toes for the moment, although you can still see the muscles are tense in their shoulders and arms and things like that as the way that they're holding themselves. And during this conversation, the fire finishes and this, whatever the spell was, comes to an end, and you see the standing stone in the middle glow ever so briefly, almost white hot, as if it had been heated in a forge. But this lasts maybe 5 seconds, and then it dulls back down to a red, and then it dulls back down to a grey, and then it's just stone again.
I'll look at Zilt. We cannot stay here. I'm beginning to panic, sort of thing. We need to find a way back.
Well, I can't imagine we were sent here without reason, with the blacksmith being a being of power that obvious and great. It must have been deliberate that we were sent here, is all I can think, though I know not why. Perhaps we might find out more asking the elders, the spellcasters, if we'd be granted audience. Maybe I'm speaking in Elven now all the time, just so they're a bit more at ease.
Yeah. Walking over towards you, you see a human. He's one of the elves in the middle of the circle. I know that sounds odd. Now, this man is dressed in red robes, and he's got a long white beard, and he's got a red pointed hat, wizard type, you know, and he's got a staff. And he's probably 40 to 45. So his hair is not completely white. It's kind of salt and pepper, but it's mostly this greyish white colour.
Is he like walking towards us?
Yeah.
I just like put a hand on my longbow.
All of the elves around tense up and they point their weapons at you, all of them. We've got like 24 elves just go, and the weapons are pulled, drawn, and they're all pointed straight at you. At that point, as soon as you do that, they're like,
Don't approach. What are you after? What is
The
it you're
man
doing here?
moves forward. You're not really in a position to ask questions. He says in common to you. Now, the elves around don't appear to be batting an eyelid at this guy. He says, I am the Prince of Athalantar, and I'm here rededicating the Standing Stone with the Elven High Council. Pray, tell, who are you?
My name is Farron Vandel. Can I have yours?
I'm the Prince of Athalantar.
And what is your name?
Do not be so insubordinate.
Yeah. I owe you no service. I've given you my name. I'm asking for a common courtesy. What is yours?
Farron. I'm sorry, my liege. We are perhaps in shock. I would ask you forgive any slights against your person due to this. As you may have seen, we just arrived here suddenly and are confused as to the nature of how.
I understand. Firstly, he says to Smile, I'm not your liege. I am not your liege. So you do not need to refer to me as such. I understand why you've done it, and I thank you, but you may refer to me as Prince, Your Highness, Lord, or some such like, but you do not need to refer to me as your liege. Also, you're in the Comantherian Woods. Now, you have arrived here unexpectedly. Whether you yourselves were the architects of that largely is irrelevant to the 50 elven archers that currently have their weapons pointed at you. So any kind of movement is likely to get you peppered full of arrows. This is something that you need to bear in mind. This is not something of my choosing. I don't control them. As you can see, I am not an elf. I'm a human. They are controlled by the High Coronel, who is not currently here. Their task and their duty are to protect those who are rededicating the Standing Stone and to protect the woods. Should you make any attempts to harm either the woods or any of the individuals here, they will respond with deadly force. And I said, I'm telling you this because I don't particularly want you to die. You intrigued me. I want to know more. The next thing you need to know is, I don't think by looking at you, you're from around here. So you've either come from a very, very long way away or from a very, very long time away. I don't know which yet, but I wish to find out more and discuss with you. And perhaps then, Farron Vandel, once we have sat down, broke some bread and drunk some wine and chatted for a while, I will tell you my name. But until that point, names are unimportant. Now, the fact that you're in these woods and that most of you are elves is a good thing. If most of you had been human, things may have gone badly. If there had been any other races amongst you, save possibly gnomes or halflings, things may have gone very badly for you. So this is a good thing. Now, in order to answer your questions, it will probably be best if you accompanied us somewhere to a place more comfortable where we can sit and talk. Of course, you're free to go on your own way and make your own path in life, but you need to be aware that if you do anything detrimental to these woods, you will be killed. And whilst you're in these woods, you will be followed. and you will not see them. Trust me on this. So whilst you are free to go about your own business, and I will make sure that the High Council agrees to this, it is in your interests, perhaps, to come with us back to our city and learn more of you, and you can learn more of us. And then perhaps from that point onwards, you can make more of a decision.
What was that ring of fire?
That was a rededication.
I'll look over to Zilts as for confirmation.
Would I have any knowledge at all of the particular spells they use to rededicate the standing stones?
No, you haven't got a clue. You have not got a clue. None of you have, even with Arcana. You have no idea whatsoever. And in fact, as you look over at Zilt, this human in front of you kind of has a look of amusement on his face. But
yeah, I just openly shrug. It's like it seems we best follow you then.
Well, I'm under the impression that whilst you may wish to agree, your friend here is slightly more distrustful. He says he's got a bit of a smirk on his face, not a nasty one. He's just he's enjoying this verbal badinage between you.
It's hard to trust when I have arrows pointing at me. I hope you understand that I could have come here. I could have approached weapon drawn. I did not do that. I wish you no harm.
You could have approached weapons drawn and you would have been cut down like a cornstalk. He shouts out an elven battle command, and all of the soldiers round, all of the archers around you lower their weapons. They don't take the arrows out of the nock, but they lower them all. Like pretty much regimented as one. It's incredible. They all do it at the same time. You can hear it just rattling all around the forest around you and echoing.
How big are these elves?
They're kind of normal size, sort of 6 foot there or thereabouts on average. Standard sort of size for elves. They all look very, very dexterous, very lithe in the way that they move as well. And it does look like what you have in front of you is possibly the cream of the crop.
So they're not heavy-footed or anything like that. They're very
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, you as an archer as well realise that all of these archers round here, each individual one is at least the equal of you. Each one.
Well, nearly the equal of me.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, I don't try anything.
The 3 elves by the standing stone have got together and are talking. They're not really paying you guys any attention. They're just in a slight little circle, and they're just talking to each other about something, not paying you any attention whatsoever.
I guess it's Farron is. Oh, sorry, Karen.
Does the name Corellon Larethian mean anything to you?
He smiles. Yes, of course. Corellon Larethian is the god of the elves.
We are his agents.
I see. He seems to be quite interested in this. Then perhaps we do have much to talk about. And at that point, actually, you see, when you mention that, the 3 elves who were by the standing stone all turn around and look with interest. And they're all looking at you, Farron, at that comment. When you mentioned Corellon Larethian and the Erase agents, they're all, okay. Some of the elven archers look a little bit unsure now when you mention that around there. They're not quite sure what to do. And then one of the high elves shouts out something. It's definitely elven, but you're not sure what it is. It's probably an ancient dialect of elven. And it's definitely some kind of battle command. It's something to do with maybe a formation moving. He wants them all to move and do something. And they start to close in ranks around them. Not in a protective, well, yes, in a protective way, but not in an offensively protective way, just in almost like a standard, we're getting ready to move, so everybody move into formation sort of thing.
Okay.
And in fact, the elves do all start to pull in.
Let's go. We obviously need to talk.
Wise choice, I think.
Okay. Now, what happens is, out of the forest come maybe 80 more elves. There's about 100 of them in total, of archers, elven archers. And they form up around you, all of you, the 3 high elven mages, the human, and you guys. Not in a way to stop you from getting out, but in a way to protect you from anyone getting in, if that makes sense. So they're all looking out rather than looking in at you guys.
What is it you fear so greatly?
The night elves. They have attacked many times.
Would I know of the Night Elves?
The night elves is a really ancient way of referring to the dark elves, the drow.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And you walk. Now, you've got a phalanx in front of you, a phalanx behind you, and 1 phalanx either side of you. So there's a lot of elves. I mean, you've got 100 elves as bodyguards, basically. But I mean, it's a good and a bad thing. You realise that you're probably going to be safe, but if you try anything stupid, you're going to be dead. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, you know. And you walk north, though, up the road. Now, as you walk, it's interesting. Have you guys ever walked on a horizontal conveyor belt, escalator type thing, like at airports?
Yeah.
Right, you're kind of walking on one of those, i.e. you're walking at normal pace, but the trees are flashing past you at, you know, way, way, way quicker than you're actually walking, and you're all moving at this speed. And as you walk, you notice that this human who has got this staff is kind of gnarled in as it's not a straight piece of wood. And on the very top of it was a very cloudy ball of glass that had a kind of like a moving cloud of fog, mist, smoke within it. And as you talk to him, every now and again, within this ball, you can see some kind of winged creature that is moving around. You can't really see what it is. Sometimes you might see a wing just brush up against the glass, or some kind of reptilian snout or an eye, but you're not quite sure what it is. Possibly draconic, not sure, but it's quite small. I mean, the ball itself is probably 9 inches round, and whatever is inside doesn't fill that. It's maybe 3 inches, 6 inches, whatever this thing is inside the smoke within it.
I think then, probably back then with it, like his better judgment not to ask, is always continuously looking at it and the human, and like being too slow to look away when he would notice.
Okay.
I'm very clearly interested, but I've not worked up courage, or I'm like to not work up the courage to actually ask.
Okay. The human is actually walking next to you, Zilt. And possibly on the other side of him, maybe Ferron, I'm not sure, or whoever, but he's made a point of walking next to you. The rest of you can be wherever you want. And he doesn't really speak unless you speak to him.
Your Highness, please forgive me if I speak out of turn, but I couldn't hold my tongue any longer.
Go on.
I must know what manner of manner of staff do you carry? I've never quite seen anything like it, and I can't take my eyes off it, I must confess.
Oh, this is a staff that was created for me by my god, or my goddess, I should say.
And your
What is it you wish to know?
I suppose anything that you're comfortable telling me. I've worked as someone studying magical artifacts for most of my life, and it intrigues me. That is all.
This is the staff of power. Sorry, this is the staff of the Magi.
Okay, and does that mean anything to Zilt?
Yeah, anybody who has anything in Arcana, the staff of the Magi is going up in levels of rarity. You know, you've got common, uncommon, rare, so on and so forth, very rare. At the very, very top of that, you have legendary. Now, legendary generally means that there is one or two of these items in existence at any one point, and that is true of the staff of the Magi.
Okay, commence, I guess, eye-widening and faltering as attempting to ask any further.
And as you're up next to this guy, you do see that he is wearing a holy symbol of the goddess Mistra, goddess of magic.
Mistra. Okay. I never imagined that I would see an item of such power with my very eyes. You've done me a great service just by being here. That's sorry, I didn't mean to speak out of turn.
You're not speaking out of turn. Every time you speak, it helps me understand more about you, and I have now realised that you are from a different time, not from a different place.
I think I can confirm as much. The manner of our getting here was most mysterious. I guess I turned to look at like Delgar and Flint and Farron, whoever I can catch their eye, and like look a bit questioningly, like maybe raise the corner of my mouth, just like a, should I tell them? Should I not?
If he catches my eye, I'll give like a very subtle nod.
Yeah, same.
We were speaking to a being of great power who transported us here. I had only heard, or I heard tales of a magic lost to those in our time, great and powerful, that revolved around golden falling motes of light.
I understand.
Perhaps that means more to you than it does to me.
Yes, it does. Tell me more, and I will possibly... The being, tell me more of him, and I'll elucidate if I can.
I guess I do the quick look again.
I'll look a bit more like pensive this time, not so sure. Like, I'm not saying no, but I'm not nodding this time.
Tell me something. You don't have to give me everything. Just tell me something that might help my understanding.
He was a smith of great enough prowess to craft a holy avenger.
And this smith, if I said he lived at a place full of puzzles, this would mean something to you, yes?
Yeah, I guess before I can mask him guessing, my eyes betray that yes.
Okay, good.
If
this is fine.
Says yes, anyone says.
You are talking of Kalanzir Denarin, are you not?
didn't really give us a name.
Ah, a drow.
Yes.
Well, if you are talking of a drow blacksmith at the bottom of some kind of puzzle-infested dungeon, for want of a better word, then yes, his name is Callanzir Denerin. And he was a friend of Corellon Erethian, the god that you say you are working for. That I believe you that you're working for. This is fine. Then we can talk more freely.
Ah, good. I'm glad.
We will be stopping for an encampment before we head back to our city. You will, of course, under my protection, will be allowed to camp with us, and I would strongly advise it. It is not mandatory. You may wish go off and camp on your own, but if you do that, you must camp at least 2 miles away from our group, or you can camp with our group. You can't camp any closer. I also completely understand that he says with a bit of a smirk, you will probably want to set your own watches. If you wish to do that, that's fine. All I ask is that you don't get in the way of the 40 guards who will actually be doing the watching. You do notice that
I guess.
the shadows on the trees are moving quicker than you would expect them to as well. Almost like the day, not only are you moving physically faster along the ground, but you seem to be moving physically faster through time as well. The shadows are becoming longer, a lot quicker than they should.
Do I recognise this as a mass cast of haste or something?
It's a mass cast of some kind of haste spell, sure.
Right.
I'll obviously not having that knowledge, I'll say to him, what sort of magic is this? And just gesture at the sky and the trees moving fast, just general our surroundings.
This is just an extrapolation of the spell that you have been privy to recently. The spell that you were privy to recently was a spell by the name of Time Conduit. This is an incredibly powerful spell that was created by my goddess Mistra and was given to those most powerful mages within the realms. I myself do not have that particular spell. It is outside the bounds of what I can cast. However, what I have done is I have cast a time dilation spell amongst the 110 people within this group to double the move speed, or rather to double the time dilation within our march. Now,
As if there wasn't enough.
Right, I mean, that's just insanely powerful. I mean, that's akin to a 9th level wish spell. I mean, that's just bonkers.
I'll just nod as if I understood exactly what you meant.
I guess I'm just looking at him literally with my mouth open. I imagine Delgoris as well as casters. That shit's ridiculous.
Okay, so the time goes on, and eventually you get to some kind of big, wide, open area in the forest that is a camp spot. And it's weird. You guys, you've been here before, but not at this time. You've been to this camp spot, and it's weird to think that you remember this camp spot over 1,000 years in the future, and it still looks pretty much like it does now.
Okay, I'll turn to Zilt. This spot hasn't changed one bit.
How interesting.
And they start setting up a camp. And you notice that seemingly from nowhere, campfires spring up, almost like people have just summoned them into being. And people come out of the forest with deer and start skinning them and things like that. And whatever happens around, it's like a well-oiled machine. It's incredible watching this work. I mean, it is truly incredible.
Is the lieutenant available, or in sight somewhere?
He is, but he's in the process of giving orders to people. He's setting the camp up, so he's, detailing groups to go off and do this and groups to go off and do that, and people to go here and people to go there, and watches, and you're on skinning duty and fires and blah blah blah. So he's quite busy doing all of that at the moment.
Okay, I'd like to keep an eye on him, and just when he's not so busy, I'd like to have a word with him.
All right, the 3 high elves are keeping very much to themselves. You do notice that the human prince goes over and joins them quite often as well and speaks to them. And they treat him like an equal, which is interesting. Because generally high elves are a little bit high and mighty, and you'd think at this particular point in time, if they're part of the High Council, they would kind of look down on everybody that isn't a high elf member of the High Council. But they treat this guy with reverence as an equal, which is, is interesting. Griffin, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up?
All right, you've been quiet for a while, so you want to make sure you're still there.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
All right, cool. Go on.
I was going to say, actually, I would probably go up and try and just mingle in with the groups that he's ordering about. Just I will be prepared to chip in as well, so to say.
Right.
Just to show,
Show willing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can help. They don't object to you helping. They're not so proud that they're like, no. So you can go and help out. Does anyone want to do anything in particular? Anyone else?
I guess I'll just try and help establish camp for the most part.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Probably just chronicling super hard.
Now,
just everything.
Someone comes over to you and says, well, actually, the lieutenant comes over to you guys. Once you've finished helping the camp set up, the lieutenant comes over to where all of you have got together and says, in Elven, by the way, the elves, none of the elves speak anything other than Elven, just to let you guys know. So if you don't speak Elven, everyone speaks Elven here, right? I know you've got some Elven, the only person. Yeah, everyone does, of course I do. And says to you, what is your decision? Do you wish to camp with us, or do you wish to camp outside the group?
I'll look around at everyone and give a, shall we, as if to stay here?
I would prefer that. Definitely.
I'd much prefer staying.
Well, they haven't killed us yet, so I don't see a problem with it.
I'll say to Lieutenant, yeah, we'd like to stay here, but I would ask if I would be able to stay amongst the trees rather than at ground level. I'm sure you understand.
I completely understand. That's absolutely fine. There are a number of trees around us. You will be directed to a tree that will be suitable for you. Most of the trees will have elves in them, but we'll make sure there's at least one tree that has enough branches for you to stay in.
Thank you very much.
And he's completely cool with that, because that's what most of the elves seem to be doing. So, apart from the high elves and obviously their immediate bodyguard detail. So he goes, fair enough, and he reaches into his pouch next to him, and he says, "Please step back, gentlemen." He pulls something out of his pouch, waits till you've moved back a little bit. He throws something down on the floor, and a bonfire appears, sort of a campfire appears, just baff, done. And you've got a proper campfire. And he walks away, as if that ain't no
Thank
thing.
you.
That's a pretty handy trick. We'll have to learn that one from him.
And then somebody comes over with a massive side of venison, and they start spitting it up on the fire in front of you. And they start doing that, and then somebody starts cooking it for you.
That totally reminds me, it's a very quick aside while leveling up and choosing my spells. Are we allowed to access the elemental evil stuff? There are some cool things in there. Or would you rather just stay in
Like
HP?
create bonfire, for instance. I'm going to say yes, you are. Yeah, you are.
Okay.
Right. So what happens is the area that you're in is very, very similar to what you remember in the future. However, much like the Standing Stone area, there are less trees there, and the trees that are there are far less grown than the ones you remember from the future. So it looks like it's a lot more spartanly forested than it was. It's not. It's just they're younger trees. And you've got maybe a dozen campfires, and you're situated kind of near the middle in 3 campfires that are situated in the middle of 9 more that ring you. Obviously, in order to sleep in a tree, you'll have to be sleeping outside this ring of 9 fires, just to let you know, Ferron, but that's fine.
Yep.
And whilst you're eating, there are no vegetables, by the way. It's meat or nothing. So if you've got your own food, you want to eat your vegetables, that's down to you. But literally all the elves around here are eating meat, nothing else. This human prince comes over and stands at the edge of your campfire and says, "Do you mind if I join you?" Thank you.
Myself.
He walks in and he sits down on one of the logs that you've got situated around the outside that people have just brought in and dumped down so you can sit on. And he pulls out a wineskin, takes a long draught from it, and then passes it to the person to his right. Doesn't look, he just passes it. And if somebody takes it, they take it. If after about 5 seconds, if they don't, he puts it back again. So it's up to you. Anyone want to take it?
I'll take it.
All right.
Yeah, I'll take a swig and then I guess pass it to the right as well.
My God, that's good. It's elven wine. It's incredible. Incredible. This is the best wine you've ever tasted in your life. For you, you're a vintner. You know your wine.
Yeah. As I'm passing, I'll say, you simply must try this.
Okay.
Yep, of course.
I mean, for all of you, this is just incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And he says, "Now, we're going somewhere where humans aren't allowed." He's turning to you, Zilt.
Ah.
So he goes into one of his pouches and he pulls out a leather thonging with a little leather square attached to it that has a very crude painting of an eye with a brown iris, a black pupil, a white cornea on it, and says, "Put this on."
Okay, I will.
Okay, you put it on. You don't feel any different whatsoever. However, the rest of you, for a brief split second, now see an elf sat where Zilt was until your brain kind of goes, "No, hang on, that's not quite right. What the fuck's going on?" And you see Zilt again.
Well,
No,
that was
this is
some
powerful magic you seem to use.
No, that's a trick.
Well,
That's not powerful at all. He says, "I think actually all of you are going to be pleasantly surprised."
how so, if you don't mind my asking?
Well, you've come from a time that is not commensurate with here. So you will find differences in who you are and what you can do. This is a time of magic. This is a time of potent magic. And those of us who are at the pinnacle of our spellcasting ability can cast spells with a flick of a hand that are of a magnitude that you might be surprised with. Now, I do know from my research that magic is slowly being leached from the world. it is almost like it's slowly fading, slowly fading. And as the decades go on, I notice that there are differences in what I used to be able to do and what I can do still. And I'm estimating that if we extrapolate that and move that forwards 100, 200, 500, 1,000, 2,000 years hence, magic will be less powerful than it is now. And because of that, each successive generation will be slightly less magical than the one before. So by the time you get to your generation, magic will still be prevalent, but it won't be as easy to harness as perhaps it is now. Does that make any sense to you?
Would you mind if we saw for ourselves?
So
And I like move my hands about. I'd say, would you mind if we tested it for ourselves? And I'll like move to like start an incantation of some sort.
Okay. Right. What are you going to do? And he says, before you cast a spell, actually, so before you cast a spell, I need you to think very carefully. The next spell you cast, he also points at you, Griffin, as well, and says, same for you, for both of you. The next spell you cast, you will be able to cast whenever you want, much like a cantrip. But it can only be of the lowest level of spells that you know, but not a cantrip. So the next spell you cast, of the lowest tier of spells, you will be able to cast like it is a cantrip. Bear that in mind.
How does that happen?
Magic is more powerful now. And he looks at the rest of you. And he says, Rain, you have...
Am I not at a tree? Or am I at the camp listening to this?
No, this is at the camp. This is before you've actually gone to sleep. So
Okay.
You're at the camp before everyone's gone to sleep. He says, Ferron, you are an archer. All of the archers around here are peerless. And you will be the same. He says, you will be able to summon your force of will to such a degree that you will be able to hit any target within the maximum bow range of your bow peerlessly once before you must summon your will, before you must rest, before you can summon your will again. All of them around here can do it, which is why if all of them decided to fire at you, all 100 of these elven archers would have unerringly hit you, all of you, unerringly. Do you understand what I mean?
Is this a once per rest sort of thing?
Out of game, yes, it's once per rest.
Okay.
And he turns and he looks at you, Sabin, and says, you are a very, very lucky individual. And again, if you summon your will, you will be able to influence something that you're doing, whether that will be attacking somebody, whether that will be removing yourself from a spell effect, or some kind of dexterous maneuver, or of some of that ilk. Basically, out of game, what I've just given you guys is, if you go to roughly, have you got the DMG, each one of you?
Mhm.
Okay, right. If you go to roughly about page 232, I think it is in the DMG. Now, I've just given to Griffin and Davrich, you've just got the boon of spell mastery, which is basically cast one spell of first level without expending a spell slot. So effectively, you've been given a cantrip, a first level spell. So one of your first level spells, you can now cast that at will like you would cast a cantrip, okay? Understand?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Ferron, you have something called the Boon of Peerless Aim, which is you have plus 20 to a ranged attack once per short rest.
Okay.
And Sabin, you have the Boon of Luck, which is you add a d10 to any attack, save, or ability roll once per short rest. So not just an attack, it's any roll that would be beneficial to you. Okay?
It seems like it's basically almost any D20 roll.
Yeah, but obviously
Yeah,
it
it's
wouldn't be
pretty
a
good.
damage roll or anything like that. So it's pretty much any roll that isn't a damage roll. Yeah.
Okay.
And then obviously Bose would have something else, but he's not here, so he doesn't get anything.
So that basically means I can pick one of my, so essentially I just pick one of my first level spells and it becomes a cantrip.
Effectively, yes. Now, yeah. Now all of these are going to be until I say otherwise. So don't put them on your sheet and pen, but they're going to be until I say otherwise, which probably is going to be until you move back into your normal time zone. But so you have all of this.
Do I want something that's really strong, or do I want something that my character wants? I cast Detect Magic.
So you're going to have Detect Magic as a cast at will spell.
Yes. That's something he's always wanted to be able to do.
Okay.
So in other words, just gonna walk around and be like, detect magic, detect magic, detect
Pretty
magic.
much, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Every single bow that every single elven archer has is magical, right? Not obviously, I forget what you guys have, but every single out of the 100 elves that you've got, every single one of them has a magical bow. Every single one of them is wearing magical armor, right? Every single one. Now, this guy, this human mage in front of you, is dripping with magic. The staff, the cloak, his shoes, the robes, the hat. He's got pendants, he's got rings, he's got stuff in pouches. He's got maybe like 20 different magical items on him. The lieutenant has got magical armor, magical sword, a magical bow, magical boots, magical braces, magical stuff in his pouch. The 3 elven high mages have got magical robes, magical hats, magical staves, magical daggers on their belts. They've got magical books. They've got, oh my Christ, there is so much magic here. So much magic. This is more magic than you've ever seen in one area, ever, by 1,000%, 2,000%. You've never seen anything like this.
Okay. Yeah, I sort of imagined like he says you can cast one spell as a cantrip, and I like falter for a moment, and then I maybe pass my hands over my eyes the way I normally cast Detect Magic, and it just goes so wide that he can't not notice.
He grins. Griffin, what spell are you choosing?
A little bit of I could do magic missiles, but no, I'm just gonna do mage armor.
You totally could, but yeah, okay, mage armor, that's fine. Yep, so now effectively means
Shield.
you can cast.
That's stronger.
I don't think you've got shield, have you?
No, I don't. But
So
that's just on a side note. It's beneficial because I'm in the school of abjuration, so I can make a magical ward and shit. So
yeah, so you've now
free
got
shields.
Yeah.
You've got mage armor now, pretty much cast at will.
As a cantrip.
Effectively, yes, yeah.
That's
Okay.
so good. That means I might actually use the spell now.
And he says, I have no doubt that if you are here for a period of time, as the days go on, you will notice other things about you as your body catches up with the timeline and the time that you're in. But who knows? In all honesty, I would need to study you more to be able to do that. And unfortunately, I don't really have time. And I'm fairly sure you don't want me studying you for a protracted period of time. So it'll be a voyage of discovery for you all. I must go and join the rest of my brethren. Is there anything you wish to ask me before I go?
Are you aware of any other regions outside of Cormanthia? The situations or the goings on of other regions?
Yes, I know the area intimately well. I am from the Dale Lands to the south. I The Cormier is very, very strong. We have Fey is an area that is particularly strong at the moment. Am is also strong, as is the Sword Coast. There are many areas. The one thing you need to know is there are two races who are proving to be a thorn in our side, and we are doing what we can to combat them as and when we are able, and that is the Dark Elves, the Drow, and the other is the Orcish nation, and it is a nation. There are areas that you would be stupid to venture into, not near here, where there are Orcish cities. Venturing into those would just have you killed without any ceremony whatsoever. The Drow are all underground, but there are still Dark Elf cities on the surface that are shrouded in darkness, so that they can walk about. Going into those would earn your swift death as well. But those are areas that are nowhere near here. But there are raiding parties from the Drow and the Orcs that come out from the Underdark in this vicinity, within 500 miles of the woods. So you need to keep your wits about you, which is why we travel in such a large entourage.
Are you aware of any such places near the High Forest, near the Sword Coast?
Near the Sword Coast, yes, there are plenty over there. Yeah, there's a few small towns on the Sword Coast that have been sacked by the Orcs.
I'll just like, I won't say anything else, but I look, just disturbed, I suppose, or upset.
Yeah.
Would it be a sensible question, like my character knows more than I do, to ask about the Zentarim? Or are they much later on?
They're kind of later on.
Okay. So I just know that's our bad guys at the moment, so I don't know the lore behind super well.
Right.
Are you taking us to Mithranor?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Have you never been there before?
No.
No. And that's the reason I gave you that pendant, he says, gesturing to you, Zil, is because humans are unwelcome there. Or no, that's not true. That's not true. Humans are welcome there, but unannounced humans are unwelcome there.
Is it simply to make me appear as an elf, or
yes?
So anyone sufficiently versed in spellcraft might see through and believe I'm attempting to deceive them? I wouldn't.
No. No, that is a spell that I cast. No one will be able to see through it.
All right, thank you. I just don't. I mean no harm. So
he pulls out a pendant. He pulls out a pendant from his under his tunic that is exactly the same as the one he's given you, and says, "If they see through you, they see through me."
See.
So don't worry.
Yeah.
I have been in the city for a few months.
Guess I raised my eyebrows like unannounced.
I will not be with you all the time, as I have duties to attend to, but once we get to the city, I will part ways for you, although I will let you know exactly where my tower is should you wish to come and speak to me, although you must be prepared for the fact that I might not be always available, as I have a number of duties to attend to whilst I'm in the city. But if you were to leave a message with my associates within my tower, they will either be able to get something to me urgently, if it is urgent, or they will leave something for me to read upon my return. So it is worth just bearing that in mind. Humans have been invited into Mithranor by invitation only. I don't have the power to grant invitation. I'm a prince not of that city. I'm a prince of the Atalantar, and I have journeyed to Mithranor to serve my lady Mistra's will and return something to one of the noble houses of high elves within, of which is immaterial to you, not important. And that is why I am currently there. I am also there to learn and to study them and their magic. And they believe me to be one of them, which is why they will refer to me, and they will refer to me as one of them, and they will listen to what I say. Amongst them, I only speak the Elven language, and you'll notice that the vast majority of them don't actually have the ability to speak the common dialect. They haven't bothered learn it because it is not something they would be in contact with. So I would urge all of you from this point onwards, if you are speaking to anybody, or even speaking to each other within earshot of anybody, you speak in Elvish. Except perhaps when we are having these conversations.
Okay.
Yeah, one last question, perhaps, in case we don't get the chance to ask it at a later date.
Yeah.
Do you know of any events, any stirrings as to why we may have been brought to this time specifically?
No, I do not. I wish I did. That's what I'm intrigued about. I will be doing some research to see what I can find out, but no, I don't have any ideas.
I see. Thank you.
I have a quick question. How much is the that what was it? It was like a third eye or an amulet or something that was given to to Zil. How much has that changed his physical appearance?
To you,
Well, when we initially saw
when
him
you
as an
initially
elf.
saw it, you saw him as an elf. I mean, he looked like an elf. He looked like an elven version of him. So
Right,
pointy
okay.
ears, lean features, no beard, and everything. His hair was slightly browner than the red it is currently. He looked like an elven version of him. It's quite
Right.
subtle and quite clever. But then that lasted for a few seconds. Your brain kind of rebelled and went, ugh! And then you now see him back as he was. Although, if you're tired and you look at him, you kind of see both for a split second.
So what, like a double vision kind of thing?
Yeah. So if you're tired, or if you're exhausted, or if you've been exerting yourself, you will see both versions before your brain kind of kicks in and goes, no, I know him, he's that, and you'll see him as him.
Right. Can I address the prince? Just this illusion that my friend Zilt here has. I know
Yes.
that with most illusion spells, at least that I can cast and have knowledge of, any physical items are merely hidden and not actually. So for example, his beard that he has, would someone be able to come into contact with that? Because that could maybe perform some or have some kind of an issue in any way. Just anything that you know.
Yes, it is an illusion. It is not a physical change. So if somebody were to come in contact, then they may notice something in this. They may not. It is a
Okay.
powerful illusion.
Okay.
You must realize that an illusion has two facets to it. It may create a shroud over the individual so that they look different, but illusions also affect the minds of those watching. And the more powerful an illusion, the more it can affect a mind on a subconscious level. So even though someone may come in contact with an actual physical beard, the
They may
illusion is
not
of a
properly
powerful
perceive it.
the illusion is of a powerful nature that they may not understand or acknowledge what they have come into contact with.
Well, judging from what I've seen you cast, I simply can't believe this must be a very powerful illusion. So, well, thank you very much.
Indeed.
It's nothing. Anyway, gentlemen, I must go and attend to my other businesses. If you wish to stay here, you have food. You may keep the wineskin. And I will may speak to you in the morning.
Take care.
Good.
He gets up and heads off. Is this a good point for you to go now, Sabin?
Yeah, I was actually gonna be leaving in about 2 minutes.
Okay.
So I guess if this is a good stopping point, then I'll probably just cut out here for
Yep.
a little while. And like I said, I might be back if everything goes well in about an hour.
Okay.
So
Can you
Yeah,
just
sure.
hold on like a minute? I just wanted to ask Flint one question.
Yeah.
Right.
Weren't we warned about Mithranor? We were warned never to go there.
yes, but that was a different time, wasn't it?
True, but it was someone who knew about our time-traveling exploits, shall we say. Perhaps you're correct.
I'm not sure. I mean, now that we have a different time, it could be anything that could threaten us from anywhere. I know nothing of this time.
I'll just give him like a short, like, nod as if to say, you're right.
Okay.
In any event, if we do decide to go there, I suggest we exercise caution. Be careful. Scout it out first. Make sure everything looks like we'll be safe.
Yes, definitely.
You notice that you've got a slight sort of golden bubble around where you guys are sat around your campfire. You only really notice that when the prince walks out and it creates an ever so slight shimmer in the air around you.
At this stage, I'll just head off to my tree, so to say.
See you later, Sabin, hopefully. Yes, okay, mate.
See you later. But that's the plan. We're going to carry on, or we're going to call it for tonight? Sorry,
No, we're going to carry on. We're going to carry on.
again.
No, we're going
User
to carry on.
disconnected from
It's
your
just
channel.
Sabin has to go for an hour, so we're going to carry on. I mean,
Can I get a drink real quick?
yeah, let's do that. If I need to use the restroom anyway, so let's have a sort of 5-minute break, grab drinks, use the bathroom, smoke them if you've got on, whatever, and we'll come back in about 5.
Okay, be right back.
All right, sounds good.
Hello?
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Fuck you, buddy.
Sorry, what did you say?
I said thanks, man.
Alright. Let's get to ever exist. Good old custard cream. Get it back. Right, I'm back for the second time.
Right, everyone back?
Yep.
I'm here. I don't know if Dabrix is.
Okay. Okay, we'll just wait for him to get back then.
Despite the fact I'm so drowsy I feel like I'm dead, it's good to be playing D&D again.
All right.
Wait. By the way, did
Yeah.
that drow have that sketchy ass accent that was meant to be creepy?
No.
The one you said that. Okay, good. 'Cause I don't want to miss that.
No.
We should have said yes. Damn it, we missed an opportunity.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, damn. All right.
Oh, waiting on me. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay. So, does anyone want to do anything else for the rest of the evening?
Nope.
Nope.
I guess maybe I mess about with different spells, see if they're casting it like a different, or how they feel different. I don't even want to know like the specifics or anything. If you don't
No.
want to give them out yet, I'll just. So I was just interested to see what you can work out.
Now, spells do feel more powerful. But as to the actual specifics, we'll worry about that as and when we need to.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So the morning.
Actually, quick question.
Yeah.
I was just say, do we feel physically any different? Like maybe more spry, a bit more energy, like anything like that? Seeing as how it seems to have enhanced like abilities of, you know, like our archer and our fighter, warrior, whatever he is.
You feel more. What's the word? No, I can't think of the word. Together. Your willpower feels more.
What we feel more
focused.
symbiotic.
You feel more focused.
Oh, right.
You feel more focused.
What's like on
Yeah.
heroin or something?
I've never been on heroin, so I've got no idea. Do tell.
Neither have I. I've just heard you get focused when you're on it. Also when you go batshit insane, but you know, here it's good to keep you focused for short periods of time.
Okay. And by morning, are any of you going to take a watch, by the way?
Not a watch, I'd say. I like keep an eye out from the tree, but if I nod off, I nod off.
All right. You do, but yeah.
Not original.
When you wake up in the morning, you notice that there are literally no signs of the camp the night before. People are all like waking up. Not everyone's awake. You know, you're kind of waking up all at the same sort of time. But your bonfire has gone. All of the bonfires have gone. Everything has just disappeared. The spits where the deer was being roasted, gone. Everything has gone. Incredible. And the elves are pulling on armor or just getting themselves ready. They stood around chatting. There's a lot obviously out still guarding, but you're definitely moving towards saddling up and heading out sort of mode, although there are no horses, obviously. Okay. And the human comes over to you. I'm going to call him a human for the time being. The prince comes over to you. He says, "Are you all ready to travel?"
Yes.
Do you have any questions before we move? I must spend the entirety of this travel with my 3 high elven brothers whilst we discuss matters of state for the moment. So if you wish to speak to me now is probably going to be the only chance you get until we enter the city.
Are there any customs that I might not know about that I should observe?
Ah, good point. Yes, there are. Ah. Now, the clothing you are wearing is slightly different, but it just marks you as outsiders rather than as anything else. Most of the elves that are within the military have tattoos through choice. And most of the tattoos they have are temporary, and they represent the ranks within the military. These tattoos are of a magical nature and can be moved and changed as they gain or lose ranks. You may wear weapons whilst in and around the city that don't need to be peace knotted. However, if you draw a weapon, it is. If you draw a weapon, you must be prepared to use it. If you draw a weapon and put it away without blooding that weapon, you are disrespecting yourself, you're disrespecting your blade, you're disrespecting the person. So if you draw a weapon, you must be ready to use it. Do you understand?
Yes.
However, I doubt you will have the need to draw a weapon. Although there are thieves within the city, it is a city. There are less than you would expect from other places, especially places like Am. You must always make sure that you, well, no, actually, it doesn't apply to you. There is no nudity taboo within the city, so you may well see people naked. This is nothing. Then through choice. Some of them may be naked apart from braces or shoes. It makes no difference whatsoever. So don't be surprised if you see people walking around naked. It's not a particularly common thing, but there is no taboo in it, so some people do it. You will see humans, dwarves, gnomes, halflings. There aren't many, and they are all there purely because those specific people have been invited, and they are all there for a reason. So in the case of the dwarves, the vast majority of them are stonemasons or smiths. In fact, I think all of them are stonemasons and smiths of incredible skill. The gnomes are all illusionists and spellcasters. The humans are generally diplomats from other areas of Faerun. There will probably be less chance of you mixing with other humans than of any other race.
I'm just like nodding along, like maybe writing some bits down.
Magic is everywhere. You will see magic everywhere. You may see people walking along with sparkles of light around them. You may see floating balls of light. Some people have dancing around their shoulders. You may see blades that glow, weapons. You may see magical creatures. Think nothing of it. You'll see people levitating. You'll see people flying. You'll see a lot of strange things.
I've got this big stupid grin on my face probably by now. Excited.
The other thing to bear in mind is that if an elven soldier tells you to do something, you do it. You don't argue. You don't say why. You do it. They won't ask you to do anything stupid like falling on your own weapon or handing over your blades or anything like that. But if they say, move from this doorway, you move. You do it now. You do it without question. You do it without argument. Now, there will be a black tattoo of a stylized sword on the back of the hand for any soldier. An officer, he will have that same sword, but it will be highlighted in blue. And ranks of officer are denoted by a number of rings tattooed onto the hand, by up to 4. If ever you see anybody who has this black stylized sword with an outline blue and 4 rings around them, then you do whatever they say, including handing over your weapons. However, the chances of you meeting these people enough to interact with them are, I would say, infinitesimally small.
Okay, right. guess I'll put away the quill then. He seems like he's done.
Mithranor is situated mainly in the trees. I think, he says to you, Ferron, that will probably please you. There are buildings situated in some of the tallest trees in the woods.
I just nod.
Onwards.
And as he goes in, I just start moving, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, you move at some kind of incredulous pace. You're probably, normal average move rate is about 24 miles a day, right, at a normal pace. You're probably doing 2 to 3 times that. So between 50 and 75 miles a day. And at the end of the day, you don't feel any more tired than you would as if you'd done the standard 24 miles of normal pace. But mid-morning, you head off of the road into the woods, and it's strange. You're definitely following a tree-lined boulevard, but this tree-lined boulevard you're following is not delineated anywhere. But you have this huge phalanx of elves moving in a very purposeful, very straight line from the road through the forest towards a destination. And by late afternoon, you almost unannounced come out of the tree line, and you have just the most incredible sight ahead of you. You've got an area where there are trees, normal trees, and then beyond them there are these just behemoth trees. I mean, they're just enormous, 1,000 feet tall, maybe, and there's hundreds of them, and situated all around and through the tree trunks of these, which are in some places 200 feet thick, in some places, are buildings that have been built on the side and into the trees. You look at the side of a tree and you can see there's a window in it, and you see somebody walk past the window inside the tree, and there are massive rope bridges that are perfectly flat, that span tree to tree to tree, and there are buildings situated on these rope bridges, just suspended there in the middle of nothing by these rope bridges between some of the trees as well. There is only one building on the ground, one, that's it. And it is this fucking enormous castle, and it's situated in the middle of some of these huge trees. It is clearly of elven design, and it is stunning. It's maybe 300 feet tall, about 300 to 400 feet wide, and it has these beautifully white, tapered, crenellated elven towers that are flying these pennants. And as you look, there are no guards around this whatsoever. Equally, there are no windows and you can't see any doors into this tower. It's absolutely stunning. And the whole site is breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking. And they just march towards the trees, out of the tree line that you're in. Well, you're out of the smaller trees into the larger trees.
This is quite a sight.
Just like a open mouth mod, probably by your side.
And they head over to the base of a tree, and you notice that there's this wide gateway in the base of the tree. It's about 40 feet wide and about 50 feet tall. And it has a big wooden portcullis effectively inside the tree. There's a wooden portcullis inside the tree. Crazy. And it's open. And there are, interestingly, no guards there whatsoever. None.
I just walked through.
Yep. Well, I mean, you've got about 40 of these elves in front of you, about 40 behind you, and then the rest are situated kind of either side of you. And this phalanx just heads inside, and it starts to slope upwards and curves round the inside of this tree. And every 100 foot or so, there is a flat plateau with an opening to the left-hand side round the tree as you go up. And you maybe go up 6 to 7 turns before you get to a massive open room, about 100 foot diameter. You don't look like you're inside a tree right about now. I mean, just looking at it, it doesn't look like you're inside a tree. It looks like you're inside a building. And at that point, there's the commander shouts halt, and people start halting. And this seemed to be where soldiers muster and where they break out of formation and go off to do their things. And this is where the group ends. And the prince comes over to you at this point. He says, "Wondrous, is it not?"
The trees. I'm sure were once very beautiful trees. It's a shame what's happened to them.
I don't understand.
These trees have been cut to pieces. They've been hollowed out.
Oh, no, not at all. No. The trees have been growing around the buildings.
What? The trees have been growing around the buildings?
Yes.
How does that happen?
Magic, dear boy.
I look at him like I don't believe a word of what he's saying. Like, I know nature. Trees don't grow around buildings.
He smiles. He says, I understand your skepticism. I really do. I was the same as well. You need to understand that where you are is a place of high magic, and that when you are, magic can do the most incredible things. The most powerful elven druids, a cabal of the 12 most powerful elven druids, created this area. Along with Coelon Arethian himself.
I don't really understand what they hope to achieve with this monstrosity. Like, it's an impressive feat, but it doesn't really achieve anything.
He shrugs. Very well.
I must confess that I'm somewhat at a loss as to what to do now. Is there anyone you recommend we speak to? We've been placed here, unknowing of how this fits into our particular destiny, unknowing
I
of
understand.
the exact events of the time. I mean, there's a
I understand.
purpose, but
No, I understand the situation you're in. Yes, I would ask, if I were you, to find the library. And within that, I would ask that you perhaps study or look for information on the elf blades.
very good. I'll get straight onto that.
Also, I might consider that you should find the cathedral to Corellon Erethian and pray there for a while.
I just like smirk at that.
What do you find funny?
Corlon he's very much a real person. He is no god.
Do you understand where gods come from, my friend?
Go ahead, explain to me.
Gods come from us. We make gods. I don't mean we physically make them. I mean someone who does a great thing, and that great thing is of such magnitude that the respect for them is overwhelming and unconditional, can elevate them to positions, deification. Nothing of their choosing, but somebody who has done so much for the realm as Corellon Erethian, who has been beloved by so many hundreds upon thousands of elves for what he has done to save lives, to bring prosperity, to eradicate disease, to bring magic, to elevate the lives and the standard of living for so many people, was elevated to such a position of godhood, not through his choice, but
User
through
in
the
your
greatness of
channel
his
timed
deeds.
out.
Ooh, Davrick's timed out.
Sure.
Well,
If people worship him, then that is their decision, of course.
He chuckles. I don't worship him either, but I know him. And I know he's a god. I don't need to worship him to know he's a god. Oh, he's about. You'll see him.
I hope so. I really hope I do.
You must understand that around here he is revered as a god, so you must treat him as such. At least in public. Do you understand?
I understand.
What you and he decide in the privacy of your own chambers is irrelevant. In public, he is a god, and any sort of familiarity with him will be looked on very suspiciously. He is a god.
So the fact that we are his agents will be looked down upon.
No. The fact that you're his agents will be looked upon favourably, but even agents must know their place. You must be aware of that, that even I am a great wizard, I follow Mistra, and I know not to treat Mistra when I see her with familiarity. She was the one who gave me